I am living proof that none of that applies. So I guess to orient the audience, I grew up in a pre 9/11 world. So I grew up like CT was not the issue of the day. Al Qaeda wasn't even born until 1989, right? Like I didn't know that that's what you wanted to do. Also, I didn't have any of that growing up. We had a show called Chips. Like that was it. I don't know if anyone remembers that show, but I loved that show. And like, that was it. I had no exposure. Like, why would I want a career there? Because I didn't even know that you could have a career there, if that makes any sense. And so my life changed though. I was in college. It was 1997. And I was working out, was watching the news, and this dude was in a cave with 2 machine guns next to him being interviewed. And it was there that he issued his declaration of war against the US. And it was Osama bin Laden. It was the only interview he ever did with the West, ever. And so I was like, who is this guy? But the problem is I went to college at the same school. My dad was a professor, so I wanted the free tuition, obviously. And I'm like, what can I do to learn more about this counterterrorism thing, but still graduate with my history degree in 4 years? Because I was going to be a high school history teacher. And so I started taking like international relations courses, Middle Eastern history courses. But again, didn't know that that was like a job you could have. And I went to a career fair. This would have been 1999, I think, by this point. And I had brought my resume with me because I was actually applying for an internship in DC. And I saw a table and it said CIA, and they were looking for liberal arts majors, which was history. And I said, hey, do you work this counterterrorism thing? And they're like, nah, not really. Well, our focus right now is on Russia, because Russia's always kind of Russia, and actually South America, Central and South America, just because there were a lot of coups d'etats going on. This was like the height of the FARC in Colombia. And they were really looking for Spanish speakers and Russian speakers. I don't speak any foreign languages, but I just said, here's my resume, and they called. It's that silly of a story.
Wow. It's crazy. So obviously we talk a lot about the cartel. We talk about drugs, and we've had every kind of, I guess, guest on here that has an expertise. Something that we've seen recently in the news that kind of really been highlighted through the Ukraine kind of Russian conflict was the drone warfare. Mm-hmm. I know that's a space of your expertise, so I definitely want to start there. We're going to get off that conversation eventually, but let's start there. I'll tell you from my experience, drones have been very successful for us when I was in the military, right? So I served with 2nd 75th Ranger Regiment, tours out there. We use Predators for a lot of different things. Moving forward in the Border Patrol, it was really early on, the special operations of the Border Patrol, we started using drones as well for more surveillance, right? For trying to identify bodies crossing, drug loads, blah, blah, blah. Now, during the time they've been weaponized through our military, but you're starting to see other countries using it. Ukraine and Russia use it in a way that I've never imagined would be. I should have thought it, I just didn't. And then when you start to see it, and then now just this morning, I got another video from some drone warfare. I think Ed Cadron just posted it. It is happening way more often than we expected. Their skill sets and levels of using these have become very professional. And I'd love to hear kind of your initial thoughts when you first saw that and it was like, oh, here we go.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service. I just want to say that. And I'm sorry I didn't say that earlier. But I think with drones, obviously they have evolved significantly since I started with the first armed drones, right? With the Hellfires. I think biggest issue, because I think people see the word drone, right? And they assume that it's the Pakistan model, right? Like we're going in there with the Hellfires, with it armed. And that's actually not what's going on. You're so right. Russia and Ukraine are almost using them in the sky against each other, which is like, it's like nothing I have personally seen. I agree with you. I think in terms of how they are being used right now, their chemical sniffing capabilities are so much more advanced than they ever were. And I think that is actually incredibly impressive. When we were flying them over Afghanistan, we were helping the DEA a little bit, over the poppy fields and the opiate, because obviously that's one of their largest exports. But there really wasn't much we could do from a chemical perspective, right? To see where all of this was being refined. There just wasn't. This was obviously in the early 2000s. But now to see that it's so much more than just a heat signature or picking up signals and those kinds of things, that they have the ability. They are not detecting these chemicals through temperature changes, which is what they originally were doing.